My husband and I are in a loveless contractual marriage. When I heard his first love had returned, I immediately decided to step aside. But then I accidentally overheard him bragging to his friends. My wife is absolutely crazy about me. See this tie my wife tied it herself. It matches her scarf. We're wearing couple items. See this watch my wife picked it out for me. ISN. T it nice. She yes. So clingy too, always demanding one more kiss. Whenever we part one T let me go without it. I stood dumbfounded at the door. Was that person he mentioned really me? Ethan Shao in the private club was still talking smugly with evident satisfaction. See this, my wife gave me this gift. Ethan took out the property deed to show off as soon as her project ended, and she got paid. She immediately bought me an apartment, insisted on giving it to me, and put only my name on it. When I refused, she got upset with me. After much persuasion, we finally put both our names on it. Look at this property deed, this sacred contract, our names side by side. It's practically another marriage certificate. My wife just loves me too much, Ethan concluded with smug satisfaction, completely ignoring the complicated expressions on his friends' faces. His friends were all famous second-generation heirs in their circle. Any one of them pulled out at random would be a successor with assets in the hundreds of millions. Although this small apartment I bought is in a good location, its size is modest. Objectively speaking, it wouldn't even register on his friend's radar. It's a wonder Ethan could show it off with such gusto, but as I watched the man beaming with joy not far away, I only grew more bewildered. Wasn't TR supposed to be a loveless contract marriage? How did it turn into me being madly in love with him? Wait, did I pick up the wrong script? As I watched Ethan proudly showing off his watch again, I grew increasingly puzzled by this man. That watch could barely count as my choice ID, merely said it looks nice, and he went ahead and bought it himself. As for the tie, he'd specifically chosen a matching color scheme just to play the doting couple in public. As for helping him tie it, it was only because the man was dawdling and I was in a hurry to leave. And the house that was just me repaying a favor to him, how did it become proof that I love him? I didn't know whether to laugh or cry as I calmly pushed the door open. Ethan, seeing me arrive, couldn't hide his delight in time and said with feigned indifference, "You're here, come sit." I obediently took a seat beside him, only to catch the man secretly exchanging meaningful glances with his friend. And I actually understood. See, my wife can't bear to be apart from me for even a moment and has come chasing after me. How should I describe it? Actually, he was the one who asked me to come. Ethan naturally wrapped his arm around my waist, sensing my stiffness, then leaned in to whisper by my ear, "Don't forget our agreement." I softened with a faint smile, leaning gently against him. A friend laughed and said, "Ethan and his wife have such a great relationship." Absolutely, Ethan was just talking about her earlier. I deliberately asked, "What did he say about me?" He, ahem, well, what else could it be? Just praising how capable and outstanding you are. That's right. He also said the two of you have an especially close relationship. I gazed softly at Ethan, taking the initiative to loop my arm through his and resting my head against his shoulder. Yes, our relationship has always been wonderful. The man beside me suddenly straightened his posture, the corners of his mouth utterly refusing to stay down. If he had a tail, it would surely be wagging wildly right now. Suddenly, I found this husband of mine rather amusing. 3. Ethan enthusiastically introduced his friends to me. This is Chris Davis from Davis Medical Group. His family specializes in medical equipment, and this is from the Dew family. Ethan spared no effort in his recommendations, though his tone sounded less like introducing friends and more like pitching potential business partners to me. My wife's family went through some difficulties, but now she's leading Clark Industries in rebuilding and starting anew. These guys are all childhood friends of mine. If you can lend a hand, please do. My wife is truly exceptional. She just completed the Vincent project. You all know GR Group, notoriously difficult and demanding, yet she executed it flawlessly, so rest assured your sister-in-law is more than capable. Hearing this, I became increasingly aware of the true purpose behind this gathering. Ethan's friends were people I could hardly reach even on tiptoe, yet he took the initiative to introduce these figures to me. Though outwardly we appeared as a united couple sharing in each other's glory, the reality between us was something only we knew. It was impossible not to be moved. Noticing my unwavering gaze fixed upon him, a faint blush crept across Ethan's cheeks. He took a tactical sip of water, then leaned in to whisper by my ear, "I also hold shares in Clark Industries. Your profits are essentially our profits. I'm a businessman. In business, we speak business. I can't let myself suffer losses." I lowered my head with a faint smile. While his logic made sense, there was something oddly conspicuous about his explanation. Seeing me turn my face away, Ethan seemed to be gripped by some inexplicable emotion again. Perhaps my reaction didn't meet his expectations, as he leaned in again to add, "They're all fat sheep. Go ahead and fleece them hard. If there's any trouble, I'll cover it." I burst out laughing. How could he say such things out loud? I proactively raised my wine glass. "It's a pleasure to meet you all. I'll be counting on your guidance in future business dealings." Seeing me raise my glass, Ethan hurriedly joined in. He stepped forward, snatched the wine from my hand, and replaced it with a glass of juice. "Juice is fine. We're all family here. No need for formalities." He then turned to explain to his friend, "My wife isn't in good health and can't drink." Understood. Let us collaborate more in the future, sister-in-law." At this gathering, I exchanged contact information with almost everyone, and even took on 2 projects thanks to Ethan's forceful recommendations. "Can you handle those projects alone? Why not consider collaborating with my wife? Her family comes from a solid industrial background, plenty of experience." "Have you started that project yet? Would you consider my wife for it? I've seen people pull strings to get resources, but never seen someone shove them down your throat like this." Watching Ethan's shameless maneuvering left me torn between laughter and tears. I genuinely worried he might walk out of here friendless. He wouldn't let me drink, but coming empty-handed while begging for projects didn't sit right with me. His friends familiar with him teased him while pouring drinks, and by the end Ethan was already tipsy and clinging to me in standby mode. I struggled to help the man into the car. Just as I was about to drive, he grabbed my wrist with a drunken grip. "Darling, don't go, darling. I like you so much." Like me, my marriage to Ethan was entirely accidental. 2 years ago, my father's failed investments pushed our family business to the brink of bankruptcy. Overnight, our world turned upside down. My parents fell ill. Relatives and friends avoided us like the plague. Former business partners who once greeted us with smiling faces now bared their fangs, screaming threats to repay our debts. Even my long-term boyfriend abandoned me. I fell from the ivory tower into the dust, where anyone could kick me. At that time, I sold off every remotely valuable item in our home, but it was still a drop in the bucket against the mountain of debt. Our family crowded into a cramped, low-rent apartment, waking up each day with nothing but financial worries. Until Ethan Shaw descended from the heavens. When he first appeared, I thought he was a creditor and treated him with deep suspicion. Until this handsome man smiled and said, "As long as you marry me, your family's problems will be solved effortlessly." It was only when Ethan revealed his cards that I realized he wasn't some creditor at all, but an ultra-wealthy man, a scion of an aristocratic family that even our family in its prime might not have been able to reach. Yet this help came so suddenly that I remained wary, my expression guarded. "Miss Zoe, I admire you," he said. "I once saw the projects you worked on during university. Though still a bit unpolished, they were bold in concept, innovative in thinking, and meticulous in detail, full of potential. I believe Clark Industries would flourish under your leadership. I'm a businessman, and in business we speak frankly. I wouldn't let myself lose money. I sought you out precisely because I believe you can make me profit." Though I had ambitions to take over the family business, I faced sudden familial upheaval before even graduating. Thus my overflowing talents found no outlet. Now that someone wants to help me, I'm naturally overjoyed. But why does it have to be through marriage? There are many ways to help, even signing a contract or making a bet. Because I need a wife, and I think you're the right fit. Ethan said he was negotiating a collaboration with the overseas Elliott Corporation, and this project was crucial to the Shao family's business. You know how it is, some traditional companies place great importance on their partner's family situations. They believe those with harmonious families are more responsible. I think you could play the role of a good wife, though it made perfect sense. I still found it rather strange. But at that point, I was already at the end of my rope. Anyone willing to lend a hand would naturally receive my deepest gratitude. I honestly admitted that I could accept a contractual marriage, though with some emotional limitations. To be perfectly honest, I just broke up with my boyfriend and have absolutely no intention of starting a new relationship. So I prefer to keep emotions out of this contractual marriage as much as possible. I laughed self-deprecatingly. What right did I have to talk about feelings in my current state? Besides, as you can see, my family situation is. You've misunderstood. I have no such intentions toward you. Ethan seemed somewhat emotional, gazing into the distance with a faraway look. He said, "Actually, I've always had someone I like. You probably know her, Claire." That was an unattainable dream, since I couldn't marry the one I loved most. Choosing the most suitable one would suffice. "Miss Zoe, I simply believe you can help me make money. Don't overthink anything else. I hope you won't disappoint me." I verified once more, this is just a business arrangement. Of course, just a business arrangement. Ethan extended his hand gracefully toward me. "Well then, Miss Zoe, pleasure doing business with you." Pleasure doing business with you. Thus, on the basis of commercial cooperation and bound by a contractual marriage, we established our partnership. But now I gaze at the man clinging to my arm, his head resting on my shoulder, and fall into deep thought. Didn't we agree this was purely a business arrangement without emotions? So why has he changed the script? Stumbling and staggering, I managed to support Ethan back to his room, once again acutely aware of the stark physical differences between men and women. When drunk, this man clings to me like a sloth, holding on for dear life. It took forever to coax him into bed. I helped him take off his coat, shoes, and socks, loosen his shirt buttons, and tidied his bag. At a glance, I spotted the property deed, instantly recalling his smug expression when showing off in front of friends. But this apartment was merely returning a favor. After Ethan and I started working together, he generously gifted my parents a 3-bedroom apartment, saving them from becoming homeless. I've always believed Ethan and I are just business partners. I couldn't possibly take advantage of his kindness for nothing. I bought this small apartment while the project settlement profits were still decent. The apartment isn't very spacious, but it's south, relatively close to Ethan's company, so he can occasionally go there to rest. But this guy insists that since we're now husband and wife, it counts as marital joint property and must be split 50-50. After being talked in circles by him for ages, I finally put both our names on the deed. I gazed at Ethan sprawled out in sleep, then thought again about the divorce papers lying in my room. Should I get divorced or not? Although Clark Industries had weathered the crisis with Ethan's help and was gradually showing signs of recovery, bringing up divorce now would inevitably make it seem like I was abandoning him after using him. The reason I had my assistant prepare the divorce papers was partly because I didn't want to owe Ethan too much, and partly because the love he could never forget had already returned. I've received so much help from him, but given little in return. If he still loves her, I want to make it happen for him. But remembering the proud, boastful expression he had when showing off in front of friends makes me uncertain again. Does he really like Claire, or rather does he still like Claire now? 7 Zoe, come downstairs for breakfast, okay? I hastily stuffed the divorce papers into the drawer and went downstairs as if nothing had happened. Ethan sipped his coffee while browsing the news on his iPad. The hangover left faint traces of fatigue on his face, yet it made him appear even more mature and composed. Truth be told, Ethan was strikingly handsome. His features were sharply defined, angular contours, deep-set eyes, a prominent nose bridge exuding an intimidating aura when he wasn't smiling. I used to think I didn't like such slightly aggressive features after all my ex-boyfriend was the gentle and refined type, and I believed that represented steadfast reliability, but truthfully, I can't blame him, nor is it about appearances seeking advantage, and avoiding harm is simply human nature. But Ethan, I don't seem to dislike him. In fact, I feel his personality suits this naturally authoritative face of his. As if noticing my prolonged gaze, Ethan wore a faint elusive smile at the corner of his lips. This man is truly strange. After breakfast, Ethan offered, "Let me drive you to work." "No need," I shook my head. "It's not on your way, and besides, you have your Monday morning meeting." "It is on my way. I have business at Xingxing Tower near your office." Seeing Ethan's enthusiasm, I didn't refuse again, but my heart remained unsettled, tangled in uncertainty. As the car slowly pulled up in front of the company building, I finally couldn't hold back anymore. Claris, back, did you know?" "Oh, I heard about it." Ethan suddenly lowered his head, deliberately avoiding my gaze, though the conflict in his eyes was painfully obvious. I couldn't explain why I felt this inexplicable pang, yet it somehow felt inevitable. "I'll be going now, goodbye." "Alright, see you tonight." Watching Ethan leave with a lost expression, I smiled self-deprecatingly. Zoe Clark, last night was just an accident. You can't be too greedy. Reining in my emotions, I quickly shifted into work mode. Now that I've successfully completed the Vincent project, achieving a reputation turnaround in the industry, I've helped Clark Industries rebuild brand confidence. With Ethan's influence, we successfully secured several projects. I organized and arranged them one by one, personally handling each, and was so busy all morning that my feet barely touched the ground. By the time I finally got off work, I realized it was already almost 7 p.m. After wrapping up my tasks, I dragged my exhausted body out of the office only to run into an unexpected person at the company entrance, Ryan Collins, my ex-boyfriend. He looks exactly the same as before, as if we never broke up, patiently waiting, smiling gently when our eyes meet, radiating a warmth like spring breeze. "Zoe, long time no see, yet this tenderness feels misplaced, now only making me uneasy and awkward." Meeting an old flame, we found a nearby spot to catch up. After knowing each other for years and dating for 4, our familiarity dispensed with formalities, I sat down and began eating heartily, without preamble. "I'm really hungry." Ryan maintained a faint smile throughout. "Zoe, you haven't changed at all." "No, I have changed." I raised the ring on my left hand. "I'm already married." A faint crack finally appeared in the gentle depths of Ryan's eyes. "Is this to get back at me? You're overthinking it." "I know I shouldn't have left back then, but I had no choice, my mother." "It's all in the past." I calmly interrupted his confession. Arguing about who was right or wrong now is utterly meaningless, having witnessed so much darkness in human nature during that period. Objectively speaking, Ryan had actually been quite decent. Break up with me properly and extricate yourself gracefully from the mess of my family. We were just boyfriend and girlfriend. It was wrong of me to harbor too many unwarranted hopes for him. "I'm sorry, you don't need to apologize. It's just a matter of personal choice. I don't blame you, but it's still a pity. After all, he was the first man I ever loved and the partner I once wanted to spend my life with. But the world is ever-changing. Good times are hard to come by again, and hearts are easily scattered." "What, nothing?" I smiled faintly. "Everything is predestined. Things are already good enough as they are. Clark Industries is starting anew, and everything will only get better. And you'll always be the indomitable Zoe Clark who can overcome any difficulty with ease." I smiled without responding. The pain of facing those hardships was truly not something to be shared with outsiders. "What did you want to see me for today? Just to catch up?" "I missed you, and I wanted to see you." Ryan stared at me with burning intensity. That look was familiar, exactly the same as during our passionate romance. I deliberately turned my head away. No matter how my marriage with Ethan was outwardly, I was still his wife. "Don't say such things anymore. It's awkward for me, and undignified for you." "But Zoe, these are my true feelings. I regret it now. I truly can't bear to let you go." I stared coldly at the man before me, examining his remorse for the first time and glimpsing the unfamiliar hypocrisy beneath. A bitter self-mocking laugh escaped me. "Zoe Clark, the man you once loved, wasn't too much to begin with. How could you have misjudged him so badly? If you hadn't mentioned regret, perhaps I could still respect you." "Zoe, I'm married now. My husband treats me very well. Let us not meet anymore. I don't want him to misunderstand." I picked up my bag and stood to leave, but Ryan chased after me, grabbing my arm. "Zoe, does he really treat you well? Are you being deceived? Those wealthy playboys have wild reputations, I've heard." Ouch. Suddenly a sharp figure strode over swiftly and threw a punch at Ryan's cheek, sending the persistent man tumbling to the ground. Before I could even react, Ethan pulled me into a possessive embrace. "Excuse me, but please stay away from my wife. If you dare harass my wife again, I'll beat you up every time I see you." Ryan's face darkened with anger, the wound on his cheek making his usual refined demeanor appear utterly disheveled. "Ethan Shaw, are you so afraid of me seeing her, you despicable thief?" Ethan paid him no attention whatsoever, simply took my hand and strode away with me in large steps. He was angry. That was my first instinct, but it shouldn't be this way. I'd already confessed all about Ryan and my past to him before our marriage. Perhaps it was possessiveness at play. After all, I am his wife in name. 9. There's nothing between us. Running into him today was purely accidental. Don't worry, I'm your wife. I would never do anything to betray you." He was still angry, but I didn't know how to comfort him. Although Ethan and I have been married for 2 years, we've spent more time fighting side by side in the business world than getting to know each other privately. I sat stiffly in the passenger seat at a loss with only cold analysis to keep me company. Although Ethan and I were contractually married, we always maintained a loving facade in public. Now that I was meeting my ex-boyfriend, if someone with ill intentions saw us and made a fuss, even he my husband in name only would be embarrassed. I'm sorry I was wrong. What exactly were you wrong about? His tone sounded strange. I reflected deeply after all. I'm your wife in name, so I should honor the spirit of our contract and play my role as a wife properly. You can rest assured I want to meet Ryan again. He is my ex-boyfriend. After all, if others saw us together, misunderstandings would be inevitable, and it wouldn't reflect well on your reputation either. Ethan nodded after hearing this, then frowned, his expression indescribably complicated. He seemed happy, yet somehow dissatisfied. A man's heart is as inscrutable as the ocean floor. 10. I've recently noticed Ethan seems to be in a mood, but I can't quite pinpoint why. For instance, when Ethan offered to drive me to work and I politely declined, he started making sarcastic remarks. Of course, you're always free to meet whoever you want. Could you give me a ride? Or another example, let us have lunch together. No need to trouble yourself, I'll make do with the staff cafeteria. Indeed, what we eat doesn't matter, it's who we eat with that counts. After all, I'm just a wife in name. Even if I prepared a luxurious seafood lunch, it couldn't compare to the simple fare at Clark Industries cafeteria. When will you come over? I'll be waiting in the office. I'm coming up right now, me. And another example. Why are you working overtime again? Didn't we agree you'd be home by 8? Me, since when did we have an 8 p.m. curfew? Other people as precious wives all know to come home early to accompany their husbands. President Clark is indeed an extremely busy man with a million things to handle. Me, it's so dangerous for a girl to be out alone. There are bad people with ill intentions everywhere. I heaved a long sigh. I'll go back. Now, no need. I'll come up and keep you company while you work overtime. Ethan's series of actions left me speechless. His way of showing concern was really quite awkward. As I stood there confused, Ethan appeared before me holding an exquisitely tailored formal dress, wearing a matching suit of the same color scheme himself. Accompany me to a charity auction tonight. All right, I didn't dare disobey Mr. Ethan. Who knows what kind of scene this man might make otherwise. 11. The banquet venue was star-studded, featuring not only veteran actors, but also several popular singers and top-tier idols. As I curiously glanced around, I immediately heard sarcastic remarks from the person beside me. I really am getting old, can't compare to the energy of young people. Me, why is this person so jealous? But after all, Ethan is my real boss, and timely flattery is the essence of being a good employee. Their good looks are all packaged. How can they compare to my husband's natural beauty, his super high looks crush all those celebrities? Besides, they're all about superficial skills, not like my husband, who has a true powerhouse of talent. Ethan pouted slightly, with pride of course. Actually, the man was quite easy to placate. Mr. Ethan's mood improved instantly. He insisted on bidding for that emerald jade bracelet to give me, just because I glanced at it twice. Truth be told, I only thought it resembled the one my mother had sold off years ago. But thank you for your kindness, boss. At the banquet, Ethan still kept me by his side as we worked the room, simultaneously introducing me to connections while murmuring in my ear. Hold my arm, properly act more intimate. We need everyone to believe we're a loving couple. Help your husband straighten his collar. Don't you see the media taking pictures over there? Slow down, let me help you change into flats for comfort. I'm playing the role of a considerate husband after all. Ethan has a bit of a chatterbox personality. My ears Haven T had a moment's peace all evening. A couple who were jewelry collectors teased us with a smile, saying how affectionate we looked together. I stood on tiptoe to plant a kiss on Ethan's cheek, then giggled shyly. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Good. Ethan finally quieted down because his soul had already left his body. A commotion arose in the venue, and I instinctively looked toward the entrance. She actually came too. Claire wore a sharply tailored black gown, her raven hair elegantly coiled atop her head, the glittering jewels merely accents. The woman, elegant as moonlight, made a dazzling entrance amidst a constellation of admirers. From the moment Claire appeared, she became the center of attention, and she certainly had the qualifications to command such focus. Like Ethan, Claire was the true heir of an aristocratic family. Her father led the nation's industrial sector, her mother served as president of a prestigious university, her grandfather's generation held political office, and her maternal grandfather was a renowned philanthropist. Thus Claire could be said to have been born with a silver spoon in her mouth, an absolute queen. Yet she lacked the arrogance and affectation typical of wealthy heiresses, being instead remarkably approachable and amiable. I had the privilege of being Claire's teammate in our university debate club, where I personally witnessed her quick wit, profound knowledge, and gentle magnanimity. After graduation, Claire pursued postgraduate studies abroad and joined the Wildlife Protectors Association. Over the years, she has devoted herself to philanthropic causes, becoming a universally admired and respected figure in our social circle. So it's really no surprise that Ethan would fall for Claire. I nudged his arm. Should we go say hello? Forget it, I wouldn't want to cause trouble for them. Ethan's eyes darted away as if he had something difficult to say. My heart swelled with pity. Even someone as proud as Ethan could become timid and humble when facing the person he loved. I patted Ethan on the shoulder and reassured him with a smile. You're excellent, no need to feel inferior. Besides, Claire is very kind, be brave, young man. Ethan looked utterly confused. 13. The banquet was still ongoing. Perhaps because of Claire's arrival, Ethan had quieted down considerably, no longer finding excuses to force our loving couple act. I hid in the dining bar enjoying some snacks, rewarding my hungry stomach. Just as I was indulging heartily, a gentle voice reached my ears. Zoe, it really is you. I thought I was seeing things. I quickly put down my bowl and plate, greeting her with a beaming smile. Claire, long time no see. Sorry I saw you were busy just now, and didn't he dare disturb you? Silly girl, why be so polite with me? We're comrades in arms after all. During our preparations for the national debate competition, we spent every day brainstorming together, pooling our collective wisdom. Claire always joked that it was like going to war with team members being fellow soldiers. Meeting again, after 3 years, she still looked exactly the same as before. Claire showed concern on her face. Is your family doing better now? I'm sorry I couldn't help back then. Don't say that, you've already helped me so much. When the Clark family first went bankrupt, everyone avoided us like the plague. After all, even my boyfriend of 4 years broke up with me. It was actually Claire, who was studying in the UK at the time, who sent me $10,000. $10,000 was a drop in the bucket for me back then, but it was Claire's heartfelt gesture. She even carefully protected my pride, insisting it was just a loan to be repaid when my family's situation improved. Though the money has been repaid, the sentiment remains. Holding her hand with emotion, I thanked her while asking about her plans moving forward. We were chatting happily when Ethan arrived. He stared at Claire and me with a strange expression, his entire demeanor shrouded in complex emotions. He pulled me into a firm embrace and said awkwardly, the CEO of Boda Group is over there, let me introduce you. Claire laughed, so protective. Now finally got what you wished for, huh? Me what, Ethan? Nothing. She asked, just talking nonsense. I looked utterly bewildered. Was this some kind of secret code? I wanted to arrange a private meeting with Claire, but Ethan hastily pulled me away. Claire waved her hand dismissively and turned to chat with some executive beside her. Only when we were farther away did Ethan whisper, though I knew she was back, I never contacted her. Oh, seeing my indifferent expression, Ethan declared righteously, I'm a responsible man who'd never get entangled in messy, unresolved feelings with some white moonlight. You're my wife, and I'll be loyal to you. Okay, Ethan sounded urgent. I'm telling the truth. Of course I believe you, I smiled reassuringly. I trust your character, you'd never cheat. But this is Claire we're talking about. If there is still a chance between you two, just tell me, I'll step aside. As I spoke, I patted his shoulder and gave him an encouraging look to showcase my magnanimity. But Ethan's expression grew even more unpleasant, as if he'd swallowed a fly while constipated. This is indeed a man I can't understand. 14. After the charity banquet, Ethan stopped being sarcastic and moody, but he kept making his presence felt intentionally or unintentionally, mainly by asking me to accompany him to public events and then showing off our affection nonstop. Nowadays, the public deeply believes in my image as a devoted family man and loving husband. If we suddenly separate, it would affect the company as stock price. You get what I mean? Looking into the deep black eyes of a certain someone that radiated a silly clarity, I nodded helplessly. Don't worry, even if we really separate, it'll all be done quietly. We'll release the news gradually. It won't affect your normal earnings at all. Ethan, his unfinished words seemed to contain volumes left unspoken. My phone rang. It was actually Claire calling. I stepped aside to take the call. But when I hung up and turned around, I collided straight into Ethan's chest. Did you eavesdrop on my phone call between husband and wife? It can't be called eavesdropping, Ethan retorted defensively, puffing out his chest. I was just concerned about my wife, making sure no fool dares to steal her from me. I sighed helplessly. Claire's gallery is opening, and she invited me to the ceremony. Do you want to come along? Why would she invite you? Of course, I'm coming. No wait, I won tea. As a considerate husband, I should avoid any suspicion. How, what kind of logic is that? Fine, suit yourself. Ethan leaned in with a sinister grin. Curfew at 8 p.m. Opening at 3 p.m. I teased him deliberately. I was planning to ask you out for dinner, but since that is the case, I'll just invite Claire instead. I'll definitely be back before 8. Ethan, is it too late to take back what I just said? 15. Claire's gallery was fascinating, featuring not only masterpieces by renowned artists, but also creations by left-behind children from mountainous areas and children with autism. All the artworks sold here will be used for charity. I smiled as I watched the elegant woman introducing the pieces at the center of the crowd. She remained exactly as I admired her. How is it wonderful? I'd like to buy that sunflower painting done by the child. Claire laughed. You're too late. Someone just placed an order for it. She advised your presence alone is the greatest support. Your family hasn't fully recovered yet, so skip these gimmicky events. As for money, save it where you can. I hugged her and whined softly. Oh my God, Claire, you're just too good. She pinched my cheek and said, our little Zoe is outstanding too. It's just a pity that Ethan got such a bargain. Thinking about her past with Ethan, while I didn't mind, I was a little curious. Claire, did you and Ethan talk before? Are you kidding? I wouldn't even look at that goofball. How this doesn't match what I knew. Weren't they the perfect match? A talented scholar and a beautiful woman who only separated because they pursued different paths. Claire looked at my confused face and sighed helplessly. What on earth did that idiot Ethan tell you? From Claire's description, I heard a completely different story. That guy Ethan had his eye on you since college. When he found out you were on our debate team, he'd used the excuse of buying milk tea for the whole team, just to give some to you. That goofball can't hide anything. I saw right through his little scheme. He actually wanted me to help him pursue you, but you were dating Ryan at the time, and you two were so happy together, so I refused right away. It's just wrong to break up a couple, totally dishonorable. I even warned him not to set his sights on you. Who would have thought that after all these twists and turns you two still ended up together? Maybe it was just fate. That scheming Ethan, how dare he drag me into this? Our families have been close for generations, so we've known each other since childhood, but the more familiar you are with someone, the harder it is to develop feelings. Now he might look all polished and respectable to you, but I've seen him in his diaper days with snot running down his face. Hard to feel romantic about that. These past events I never knew about, but now through Claire's account the clouds have finally parted, laying bare all that buried affection in the sunlight. A peculiar sweetness welled up in my heart. What's so-called destined fate? It was merely another person's long-planned scheme. Noticing my flushed face, Claire laughed. Ethan is quite reliable, just a bit silly and somewhat arrogant, but he has good character, none of those bad habits common in rich second-generation circles. He is someone worth spending your life with. I know he is wonderful, I murmured, shyly lowering my head. He has always been so good to me. 16. After the gallery opening ceremony, I couldn't wait to see Ethan. Now those lame excuses, those pretentious displays, and all those helping hands finally had a real reason behind them. This man, how could he be so adorably foolish? I booked his favorite restaurant, brimming with joy at the thought of having dinner with him. In my mind I rehearsed, he'd definitely respond with sundry pride, saying, "Weren't you supposed to have dinner with your friends? Did you suddenly remember you have a husband?" But whenever I show the slightest hint, he immediately comes over to hold my hand. It's only natural for a husband to accompany his wife for meals. Let us go. Truth be told, I must have developed some feelings for Ethan too, otherwise I wouldn't remember his subtle expressions and tones so vividly. 2 years of genuine devotion have made this man an indispensable part of my life. I deliberately changed into formal attire, applied delicate makeup, and wore the jade bracelet Ethan gave me before heading to the restaurant early to wait. But I waited for a long time, made several calls that went unanswered, and sent texts that received no reply. I contacted his assistant only to be told Ethan had left long ago. As night fell, my heart grew uneasy until Ethan's friend Chris called. "Sis-in-law, we had a minor accident on Dawn Road. Ethan's not in great shape. Can you come over?" I jumped up in fright. "Send me the location, I'll be right there." 17. Car accident. How serious? Was he injured? How badly was he hurt? On the way there, my mind conjured up all sorts of worst-case scenarios. But I forced myself to stay calm. No matter what happened, I would stand by him and help him through it. Yet when I arrived at the scene, I realized the situation wasn't quite what I had imagined. It was a car accident, but fortunately no one was hit, just a roadside utility pole. His car performed well, and he wasn't injured. As for Ethan, he was sitting in the passenger seat wailing. "The wife I've secretly loved for years doesn't want me anymore. She is divorcing me. Why is my life so bitter? I finally tricked my wife into coming home, and now she wants a divorce. What is the point of me living anymore? I'm so pitiful. Lowly and helpless, unloved by anyone. I'm just a poor little cabbage. Wah. Me, though it's highly unethical, I quietly activated my phone's video recording function at this moment. Because Ethan's Mercedes was stuck on the curb, and he refused to get out. It was seriously obstructing traffic. The man was so immersed in sorrow that he wouldn't listen to anyone, and just kept crying. How inconsiderate. We must never let him get drunk again. But now I finally understand why Claire called him a goofball. Chris explained to the police with a bitter smile, "Please wait a little longer, his wife will be here soon." I quickly stepped forward. "Officer, I'm so sorry, I'll take him away right now. He has had too much to drink, really sorry for the trouble." I humbly kept apologizing, feeling ashamed for the first time, because my husband was Ethan Shaw. The officer, seemingly accustomed to such situations, remained calm. "Couples should communicate and resolve issues properly. Crying won't solve problems, and crashing into utility poles certainly won't help." Of course, you're absolutely right." Chris looked at me as if seeing a lifesaver. "You're here, sis. Perfect. I'll leave Ethan to you. I'm out of here." Chris had been listening to Ethan's whining all evening and was long past his limit. Now that he could finally offload this hot potato, he bolted without a second thought. Before I could even react, I watched Chris sprint away like an Olympic 100-meter dash champion, vanishing into thin air without a trace. As expected of Ethan's friend. 18. I stood coldly by the car door. "Get out. I want to get out. My wife doesn't want me anymore. She wants a divorce. If you don't get out now, she really will divorce you." Ethan seemed to suddenly realize, staring straight at me, taking a long moment before recognizing me. "Darling, is that really you? Am I dreaming? You can slap yourself to check." Smack. The man actually went and slapped himself. That sounded painful. "It doesn't hurt. Must be fake. Whoa, my wife doesn't want me anymore. Shut up, get out of the car. Now keep yelling and I'll slap you." I shouted sternly, my voice so loud even the police officers cast admiring glances my way. Me, my gentle ladylike image, was completely ruined by this damn man. Fortunately, Ethan finally understood human language and silently unbuckled his seatbelt, obediently stepping out of the car. He clung to me like a guilty child, sulking pitifully while nuzzling his head against my shoulder. The officer even kindly played the role of community mediator. "Couples quarrel at the head of the bed, but make up at the foot. I can see your husband cares deeply about you. Whatever issues you have, communicate properly. Domestic violence is never acceptable." I forced a bitter smile. "Of course. Not, don't worry, we'll definitely communicate properly." I turned to glare at Ethan only to meet his pitiful puppy dog eyes. Suddenly, my anger just melted away. With a long sigh, I finally managed to drag him into my car. What a chaotic night. After much difficulty, I got Ethan home, but the man clung to me like glue, following my every step no matter what I did. "What do you want? Why do you want to divorce me? Haven T. I treated you well." I returned to my room and opened the drawer. Sure enough, the divorce papers had vanished. Ethan must have taken them. At that time, I was because I want to listen. Me, what is the best way to deal with a drunkard urgent waiting online? I went about changing clothes, brushing my teeth, and washing my face, trying my best to ignore someone's intense staring. Until a pair of wandering hands grabbed me and started groping all over with kisses everywhere. I desperately tried to avoid him, not that I was unwilling, but the smell of alcohol on him was truly unpleasant. I covered his mouth. "What exactly do you want?" "I want to make our marital relationship real, so you can divorce me." I was practically laughing in frustration at his reasoning. "All right, go take a shower first." "You think I'm disgusting? I don't want to do that with a stinking drunk man." Ethan stared at me eagerly. Go take a shower and brush your teeth too. Blushing, I whispered, I didn't say no. With a whoop, Ethan dashed into the bathroom and came back in less than 10 minutes wrapped in a towel before pouncing on me. Darling, check it yourself. Is there anywhere I didn't wash clean enough? Me, are you actually drunk or not? Him, darling, I'm drunk, terribly, terribly drunk. With those words, a torrent of kisses came raining down. This seemingly domineering man was endlessly gentle, his murmurs against my ear tender, and lingering, our intimacy unbroken. 20 When I woke up in the morning, Ethan was already awake, propping his head up and striking a pose while gazing at me. Flirting first thing in the morning, this golden retriever of a man is seriously calculating. Good morning, darling, morning. Do you remember what happened last night? Don't remember a thing, Ethan lied with his eyes wide open. Just recall my wife adoring me, hugging me while saying my husband is amazing, my favorite person, ever, want to be with you forever. My face flushed crimson. He was clearly forcing me to say those words. I took out my phone and played a video, pathetic and helpless, unloved by anyone. I'm just a poor little cabbage, boo-hoo. Ethan, delete it now, forget it, erase it. How can such disgraceful footage that ruins my image be allowed to exist? Ethan lunged to snatch my phone. I glared at him, and he immediately froze in place. This is my weakness. If you dare make me angry, consider this your public execution. Ethan complained pitifully, how would I dare make you angry? I love my wife the most. Oh, so now it's me, like wasn't he, Claire, your white moonlight all along? I was just being stubborn, Ethan sighed helplessly. I was jealous that us all, I didn't want to be outdone. You had a 4-year ex-boyfriend. Was I not allowed to have my own white moonlight? And what is more, you two were genuinely together for 4 years while my so-called white moonlight was completely made up. Ethan stared at me intently. Zoe, you're the only one I've ever liked. I fell for you at first sight during our junior year, but you were with that Ryan guy back then. I was so jealous of him. That Ryan guy was no good. He bailed the moment your family ran into trouble. To be honest, I was kind of glad because it finally gave me a chance to swoop in. Hee. You're happy my family went bankrupt. I meant I was glad you broke up. Don't twist my words on purpose. But I never expected you'd actually want to divorce me, even going so far as to draft divorce papers. It's a misunderstanding. I genuinely thought you liked Claire. I was just trying to step aside for you too. Like her, how could I? I'm not blind. That tomboy Claire must be been bad-mouthing me to you nonstop. Don't be fooled by how proper and elegant she looks now. When we were kids, she was dark as a lump of coal and used to pin me to the ground and beat me up. Me, no wonder knowing too much about each other's embarrassing past makes it hard to fall in love. I smiled reassuringly. All right, Ryan and I are ancient history, hubby. It's you I like now. His friends were all famous second-generation heirs in their circle. Any one of them pulled out at random would be a successor with assets in the hundreds of millions. Hubby, and I like you. Say it all, husband, I love you. Say it again. Are we done yet, darling? You're so mean. You have no patience with me. Me, what can you do when you have a husky at home? Just spoil it, I guess. The end.